Hello again, diamond painting friends. This is Karen with a C at Crafting with Karen. I'm looking forward to another Drill With Me video tonight. Or today, excuse me, I lied. It's not night. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning, the 13th of April. You'll probably see this sometime in the next couple of days, maybe Monday or Tuesday, I think. I might get this posted by tomorrow. Today I'm working on this green square, which the title on the canvas is flower, but I call it green square. I think that's what it was called on the website. Here's the picture. And today I'm using a new tool, new to me tool, which is the mesh ruler. You may have seen this reviewed on a couple of other diamond painting blogs, or excuse me, videos. And I really wanted to try it out because I loved the idea of the really perfectly straight lines. And indeed, I really am getting perfectly straight lines. I like it a lot. There's only one problem. These connections right in here are so thin that after using this for less than half of a project, they've split. As you can see right here. Up to the point where they got a little bit thicker down here and stayed intact. And I'm only using this at the top where this ridged top part is that fits against the drills you've already done, like this. Oh, you can't see it because it's out of frame. No, maybe you can. Here, you can see like down here. And so that's kind of a bummer to me. So I kind of want to order, I mean, I don't really want to deal with returning it and all this stuff. It was actually free because it was the least expensive thing in my New Frog order. So there's nothing for them to refund me. I mean, I guess I could try to get them to send me a new one, but like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to deal with that. So, and I really don't want to wait another month for a new one either. So I looked on eBay and I did find a couple sellers that had it shipping from the US, that it would be here in a couple of days, or, you know, like sometime next week. And it's like double the price. Instead of like $4, it's like $8. And I really like it. And if I had one that wasn't doing this, that I could use for, you know, some length of time without it splitting like that, I would pay that $8 because I do like the way that it lines everything up. I like that feeling of each drill snapping into place. But I don't want to pay $8 for another one and have the same thing happen. So I'm not really sure. If anybody else has had, you know, other ones of these that haven't done this and they're still solid and good and they're using it regularly, please let me know. I know there've been, you know, several other diamond painting video YouTubers have reviewed this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and use it today. And I'll just be gentle when I'm pulling it up from the canvas. And you can kind of see how it goes. I'm not going to really review it necessarily. I've been using it. I like it. That's all I really need to say about it. But I'll show you basically how it works. You just kind of stick it onto your canvas, and you can see that the holes for the drills, that's down here at the bottom. This is my parchment paper. That's not a problem with the placement. There we go. You know, it really fits exactly. The holes are exactly right. And you get it lined up just right. Oh, get it pushed over a little bit there, sorry. And you get these edges kind of popped right in between your existing drills, which is why I'm not using this side, because that doesn't help me if has to lay on top of the drills anyway. And so then you do your thing. So, you know, if I kind of push it up there, it kind of lines up, and it's only that last row anyway, so it's okay, but it's just irritating. Anyway, so let's drill and we'll chat, and you'll see how this thing goes. So I basically am doing this is quite a bit longer, as you can see, but I like working in this smaller area at a time. That just seems to work for me. This is about the kind of size that I like. So that's what I do. So I just start with my first color in the corner, which in this case is a 3. And I do all the 3s, and then I go to the next one, do all the 4s, etc. And I just work my way through that section. So let me grab my 3s. So where we left off in our last Drill With Me, we were talking about Jordan and how he's going to go to camp. next summer after he gets back from school, from his new school that he's going to. Oh, look, there was only 1-3. And I think I pretty much finished talking. I guess I mostly finished talking about camp. He really does love the place that he goes. He has a lot of friends there that he has gotten to know over multiple summers of attending. So much so that he keeps in touch with them during the year. And unfortunately, we have not had very good luck in arranging visits to hook him up with his friends during the year. There really aren't any other. There's one other boy from our area, but they're not really friends. And really, most of the rest of the kids that he's gotten to be friends with are from like New York and New Jersey, and some from Washington D.C. Sorry, my voice is a little scratchy today, isn't it? Let me get a drink of water. Probably because I was up all night. Ha ha. Yes, I was again. Up all night. So I'm just going to quickly grab some water. So give me just one moment. Okay, I'm back. All right. Anyway, so we haven't had much luck hooking up with other friends because they live a little bit further away. And I know Jordan would have liked to have been able to do that during the year, but we just couldn't really make it work. So, but he really does love the place, and it's very good for him. He does well there when he isn't, being sent home. I mentioned there were issues, right? So what else is happening since the last time I spoke with you? I had a job interview on Thursday. I think I mentioned that I haven't really been able to really work essentially since Thanksgiving. I worked a little bit through the month of December, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that. So the job that I have been doing most recently is that I was a casino dealer. And I loved it. It was a great lot of fun. The money was really good because you make tips. And the more you pay out, the better tips you get. I got some really good ones. I got sometimes when I felt like I kind of got stiffed, that I paid somebody a big payday and I didn't get very much of a tip. But that's just kind of how it goes. But I really loved it, but it was very physically demanding. You're really on your feet. You're there till very late at night. We would close at 1 a.m. And I've mentioned multiple times that I'm a night person, so in a sense that was fine. But it was very long shifts. It was like most of my shifts were from noon when we opened until 1 a.m., which is 13 hours. And you're not on your feet for the whole thing. When you're dealing table games like blackjack or roulette, you're standing up. But when you're dealing poker, you're sitting down. And the way it would work is we would sort of switch back and forth every half hour. We would switch tables. So you had times when you were sitting down, and then you also had breaks. But you really were on your feet quite a bit of the time. And I may need to move this for just a second to get to my bins here. I had them kind of set behind there. I'll get this back into frame. So a little further over. Yeah, there we go. That's good. Yeah, that looks good. All right. Yeah. So it's, and not only that, but I have been having progressively more irritating arthritis in my hands and that kind of thing, which was really affecting my dexterity and my ability to manage the chips and the cards and everything, effectively and not look like an idiot and be dropping things and pushing things over and having stacks of chips fall over on me at roulette and stuff like that. So, for multiple reasons, it was getting more and more difficult. And I finally realized that I just had to, I had to give it up. It just wasn't going to be, I wasn't going to be able to do it effectively anymore as much as I loved it. And so, I haven't been working. And I sort of hoped things would improve, and so I didn't really look for another job right away. And then Mike announced he wanted a divorce, and all of a sudden I knew that I had to go back to work. So I have applied for a few jobs as a software trainer, which is another job that I did for a while that I really enjoyed and that I was very good at. And But there aren't that many of those kinds of jobs really in New Hampshire. There are quite a few near Boston, but that's a long commute. It's really further than I really want to go. And so there just really haven't been that many jobs that I could really apply for necessarily up here. Sorry, I've got a little bit of that tack stuff stuck to the canvas here. I want to get off. Come on. Alright, that's good enough. It'll be covered up, I see. So I have been looking, for that kind of job, but again, there's not that many around. So in the meantime, I also am very good with numbers, and I have some experience with some accounts receivable and some other financial kind of stuff. So I decided to go ahead and apply at Robert Half Accounting temp and staffing agency, because I thought they might be able to help me find something that could either lead to a permanent position or certainly tide me over until I find a permanent position. So I called them Wednesday, and I did a FaceTime interview with them on Thursday. Spoke to the very nice young woman for maybe 45 minutes or so. And, we talked about my job experience and what I've done and what I am capable of doing and the kind of thing I'm looking for. And she seemed to feel that there was a good chance that they would be able to find me some work. So I'm hoping to hear from her next week with maybe some possibilities. She said that there were a couple positions that had come in just in the last day or so that she thought I might be a good fit for. And she was going to look into those and then get back to me. So hopefully I'll hear from her next week sometime. And if not, then I will call in. She told me that the way they do it is you call in once a week. And she said Tuesdays are sort of their call-in day. Excuse me. And you just check in. Hey, hi, here I am. I'm still looking. Have you got anything for me? And of course, if they have anything, they'll call you. But it's just good to check in and let them know that you're still there and remind them that you exist. So I will call Tuesday if I haven't heard from them. I did tell her that I had a commitment Monday anyway, which is, of course, taking Jordan up to school Sunday evening and Monday morning, and then we'll be back Monday afternoon. So I told her I was basically available Tuesday, and she said that they don't really do the kind of staffing through her division where they're going to call you at 7 o'clock in the morning and say, these people need somebody at 9 o'clock today, go to this place and, be there and do it, go now. It's much more a situation where they have an assignment, they think you might be a good fit for it, they contact you, they tell you where it is, what the pay is, all that, and then you can choose to say yes or no. And if you say yes, then they forward your resume to the company for them to look at, to say, yeah, this person seems good, let's give it a shot, and go from there. And then they call you back and they say, yep, they said you looked good, and here's where you go and where to go, when to be there, and all that. So it doesn't, it's not like that same day kind of thing. So you have time to deal with getting ready to do stuff, which is good because I need to go clothes shopping. I really don't have any or very much decent sort of office wear anymore. I've been working the casino for the last couple of years where we had a uniform, and before that I didn't work for 15 years while I was raising Jordan. So I have some dresses and stuff, but I don't really have anything that's that great for office stuff. So, got to do some clothes shopping, which I am not looking forward to. It's not my favorite thing to do. But you got to do what you got to do. And then I need shoes as well, because I mostly live in slippers these days. So that was Thursday. That went pretty well. And I'm hoping that something good will come of it. Other than that, it's been a pretty quiet week. Jordan was home. He had sort of a spring break in anticipation of leaving for school, and he spent a little time with some friends, after school when they would get home, and he spent, of course, his usual amount of time on the computer and just hanging out. And Mike has been working on our taxes, trying to get them done. which I think he's almost got it done. And then also on the what they call the financial affidavit, which is a document that we downloaded from the State of New Hampshire court website that we have to fill out for the divorce, that basically goes through all of our, bank accounts and all of our assets and liabilities and lists all the financial information so that we can calculate alimony and child support and all of that sort of thing. Oh, sorry, I'm hitting the tripod there to reach my beads. And, Mike has been very clear that he understands that I'm not working and haven't been working, and he, that he's going to absolutely have to pay me some level of support and child support. We haven't worked out all the custody details yet, although it'll be some combination of shared custody. Don't have, specific times and dates yet, but we have to negotiate that. But it will be shared. But we have to negotiate all those expenses of who pays for what, but he's made it clear that he fully expects to be paying alimony and child support and all that stuff, and that he won't leave me, would never leave me without any means of support, or with too limited a means of support. But everything's negotiable, and we have to figure out the details, and so this document is the starting point for that. And I've been really kind of waiting for him to complete it for quite a while, and nagging him to complete it for quite a while, but the last pieces of information that he needed in order to complete it were things that he needed to also gather together to finish our taxes. So since taxes are due on Monday, that's finally getting done, and he should have it hopefully done by the end of the weekend. Then we can move forward. I have spoken to a lawyer. I have not actually given him the retainer yet, but we've spoken, and I am almost certainly going to hire him. And so that'll need to happen. And then, we've talked about working with a mediator, because I think that a lot of the decisions we need to make, certainly we can do the initial negotiations with a mediator. And then I feel strongly that it's important that I have my own lawyer review everything, because the mediator doesn't work for either one of you. They're a neutral party, and they're just there to sort of facilitate the negotiations. So they're not looking out for either one of your interests specifically. That's what your lawyer's for. And even though we can do a lot with the mediator, and we can remain, mostly amicable and all of that, I definitely still feel strongly that that it's important to have a lawyer to review everything before you sign anything. All right, so I finished this section, and I'm ready to take this off. Now, what's going to happen, I'll give you the sort of heads up of what's going to happen. As I start to pull this up, not every single bead is popped all the way through there. I push them as best as I can. You just saw me use the roller, but some of them are still going to kind of come up as I pull this up. So I pull it up very slowly, and as they go through, you can kind of see right here in the bottom, they're starting to go ahead and go through like they should. And it's pulling out from around them, but I can feel that, sometimes they do come up a little bit. They're not all the way through there. And so you have to kind of make sure that they're pushed in as you lift this up. And I guess this is probably how really it's split up here, because, this part didn't have beads in it, but then this part did, and so this came out when I was trying to pull this away from the beads. So you can see there's a couple holes. A couple of them didn't quite really get stuck in there well. This one flipped over somehow, go figure. So no big deal. I'm just going to kind of put those back in. And I still think this is overall faster. Not faster, but it isn't necessarily faster, but the lines are really straight and kind of perfect, and I kind of like that. So let's see, this is from down here. This is the 7 that was right there. See if that'll go through. Yep, there it is. And then these other ones fell off, so I gotta put them back on. They're down here on the table in front of the easel where they fell off. So we'll just get those back in there. And one more of these. And I need to grab one more 4 because it fell off the table and I don't know where it is now. So we'll just replace that one. Excuse me. Right there. And everything else looks good. So we re-roll, because that's how we roll. Oh, one moved. And it looks like I've got a Muji one right here. It's kind of dirty. I'm going to take that one off and replace. Oh, no, I guess not. I guess I don't have to. When I went to take the bead off, the Muji came off, so it's fine. I know no one's ever going to be looking at it as closely as I am right now, and no one will ever see that, but I'm a kind of a perfectionist, I guess, which is why I like the perfectly straight lines. But you can see they really are perfectly straight, and way better than I could ever do if I was just doing it by hand. So I like it. I like it. I would like it much better if the thing weren't broken. This is the first project I've ever done with it, and I'm not that pleased with the quality of it, but I love the idea of it. I guess if I'm, it just occurred to me, if I'm only using half of it anyway, I could just snip off this top half and just use this bottom half. And the connections here are a little bit thicker. I don't think it's gonna pull apart the way it did at the top. I think they were just too thin. So maybe I'll see if I can find an appropriate tool to snip this. I'll have to ask Mike if he has something. He must have something. And then that would fix the problem, because I'm only using the bottom. I'm only using half of it anyway. Gosh, it's just, I can't get over how smart I am sometimes. Ha ha ha. So that's the job situation and the money situation. And as much as I would love to go on Diamond Art Club on Monday with their big new releases and big sale or whatever they're going to have, I, would be, if I was still working and making casino money, man, I would be there in a heartbeat and buying up a storm. I have yet to actually have the pleasure of working on a Diamond Art Club project or an Ever Moment project. But I am definitely considering it, and I want to at some point. And once I start working again and I have a little, more income, I might consider that. I know I bought all these smaller ones from like Peggy Buy and stuff, but I want to get some really nice big ones that are really good size, and those are like $40-50 from most places. So I think I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned, I'm considering doing a custom project of my dad. I have, my father passed away not this past summer, basically like a year and 3/4 ago, over the summer in June, in 2000, sorry, I pushed this up too high, now I got too much coming out, in 2017. June. Very suddenly. He wasn't sick or anything. He literally was getting out of the shower one morning, getting dressed, and my mother heard a thump, and he had dropped dead on the floor, and they weren't able to revive him when the ambulance and everybody came. So that was pretty shocking. I was very close to my dad. We had a really great relationship, and I would talk to him multiple times a week, and I really miss him a lot. I really miss just talking to him, and it's hard to express how much he meant to me. And so I've been kind of thinking about doing a custom project anyway, and I thought, it might be nice to do like a portrait of my dad. So I've been looking through photos, and I think I found the one I want to use. And once I actually get it decided and, ordered and whatever, I'll show you guys eventually. It's still in the planning stages, so I'm not gonna show you any specifics right now. But I'm thinking about doing it, and I've thought about Ever Moment. I've heard really good things about their customs, and so I need to find out if they do any kind of photo like touching up, or if they just only as a service for when you order a custom, or if they just take what you give them and that's it. Because the photo I'm thinking about using, it's mostly fine, but there is a little bit of a shadow across a part of his face that I'd kind of like to see if we can get that, fixed up a little bit. I mentioned it on one of my diamond painting groups on Facebook, and somebody did respond. I said, is anybody good with Photoshop that might be able to touch up this photo? And I got a response from one woman that said that she would be happy to, and she thought that picture would make a great custom, and she just accepts donations. She doesn't really have a specific fee that she would charge me to do it. So I may take her up on that, and I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do, but I think I'm going to do that. And so the next question is, how big do I want it? Now, I understand that the bigger you do a photo, obviously the more detail you have, and the less pixelated. And we want to have good detail. We don't want, we want it to be as clear as possible. At the same time, I don't want to feel like when I have this portrait on the wall, his face is the size of Mount Rushmore. It needs to be not so ridiculously huge that it becomes like some weird shrine or something. I just want to have a nice portrait. So I'm kind of thinking like in the 60-ish, 50 to 60-ish range, which is pretty good size. And I'm just, wondering if that's going to be enough detail. So I think what I may do is go ahead and send the picture to Evermoment, get back the proof, and then decide at that point if I think, and ask them for their advice too, that how big they think it really needs to be. Now, they have some incentive for it to be bigger because it costs more and they make more money, but I would like to think that they would be honest and say, we think that this would look nice at such and such a size, and that's really what they're saying. And not just be cynical to think that they're going to tell me a big size just because it means they'd make more money. So that's been on my mind. And I'm thinking about next week and how things are going to be once Jordan's gone. It will certainly be a lot quieter around here. That is for sure. Jordan can be very, very loud when he gets going. So, and, I'm not sure how things are going to be with Mike when Jordan's not around. I would not be surprised if he spent more time away from the house with whoever it is he's seeing. I don't know who. I don't know how many. I sort of don't want to know. I want to know, but I'm curious, but I don't want to know. But it's none of my business. But it's that kind of thing. I kind of have a feeling that I'll see quite a bit less of him when Jordan isn't here, which is fine. Ultimately, I'm going to be the one, we've decided this, that I'm going to be the one that was out of the house because it's a big house, it's a big yard, and I'm just not in a state to maintain it, from a physical standpoint, and there's work that needs to be done on it to get it ready to sell it, if that's what we decide to do. Mike has talked about possibly just, buying out my half of it and living and continuing to live here, and then I would, have that money to do whatever I do with it. But we may decide that we have to sell it. Again, everything's negotiable. I definitely don't have, it's a nice house and it's fine and it's been comfortable and we've lived here for 15 years, but I don't have any specific emotional connection to this house. It's not like my dream home. We didn't build it. We've been here a long time and it's comfortable, but it's fine. And ultimately, I would like to buy probably a condo, particularly because rent around here is insane. It's really ridiculous. And there's very few apartments available in this town. It may be that we decide that Jordan is going to live with Mike during the week in the house and with me on the weekends. And if that's the case, and he doesn't need to be gotten to school. So a little time jump there. I finally figured out what's going on with my 30 minutes on my camera. It turns out this is apparently a standard thing on these types of cameras. You hit 30 minutes and kaboom, it stops. So reason that I keep missing this point is because the software app that I use on my iPad to do as a remote control on the camera and that I watch as I'm creating the videos so that I can see what I'm doing and make sure things are in frame and all that. The record button or the record light is still lit even after that 30 minutes. It looks like it's still recording, which is why I had no idea that it wasn't still recording. So I, by coincidence, happened to have recorded about another 5 minutes of time on this particular day when I was working on this green square. And so it worked out perfectly that I could use it to record another little ending. And from now on, I'm going to set a timer so I know when my 30 minutes is coming up and I'm not going to have this problem anymore. So I was just talking about how rent is so high in our town and that there are so few apartments available. Unfortunately, this may mean that I'm stuck living in the house a little longer. I'm going to talk more about that on my next video. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be working on the peony from Huacan. And so I will see you again shortly. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see in here, please do hit that like button. Please subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified when new videos come out. I'm looking forward to talking with you again soon. Thanks for watching. This is Karen at Karen with a C. Excuse me, this is Karen with a C at Crafting with Karen. Thank you.